Welcome back, YouTube. This is Heavyweight Boxer, TJ.Braddock, and today I'm bringing back an old series I have not reacted to in such a long time. That's right, I'm reacting to Samo No Academy with Tarrare, the hungriest man alive. Don't forget to hit that like button and join me in the reaction ring down below to box the algorithm by punching that subscribe button and punching it real hard. And with introductions out of the way, let's box. Samo No Academy. Tarrare, the hungriest man in history.
Hey kids, I think we can all agree that
Sam.
there are few pastimes more grotesque than competitive eating. The concept of a bunch of guys pushing their anatomy to its limits just for sport leaves a bad taste in my mouth in more ways than one. But imagine if these men didn't adopt this habit just for fun. Imagine if some gross biological error forced them to eat like this for their entire life. Introducing Tarrare. Tarrare was born in France around 1772 to a poor farming family. It's said that his appetite was so voracious that, by his teens, Tarrare could eat an entire quarter of a cow carcass in a single day. You'd think he'd be like mega obese, but no, he only weighed 100 pounds by age 17. However, there were still a few things that...
This guy can eat a fourth of a cow and still remain 100 pounds. This guy's metabolism must have been real high.
Stood out about Tarrare appearance-wise. For one, he had a huge, stretched-out mouth with horribly stained teeth. He could reportedly fit 12 eggs in his cheeks at once, much like a chipmunk keeping its chipmunk eggs warm. Additionally, when Tarrare was full, he'd get a crazy Octomom gut going, and any other time, he'd have a huge flap of stretched-out skin hanging around his waist. He also stank to...
So what, is he like Luffy whenever he like gorges himself on like tons of food at a banquet? Only instead that his stomach still like keeps his elasticity compared to his original form.
High hell, even by 18th century French peasant standards. He was described as reeking, quote, to such a degree that he could not be endured within the distance of 20 paces.
Wow. He has got to been like some stinky boy. Like, yeah, and keep in mind, this was during the 1800s, and if he smelled that bad at that time that no one can endure his smell within 20 paces, guy really needs to wash his bum. Oh, great. I just gave myself a horrible mental image. Gross.
So between all this and his horrendous outhouse flooding dumps, his family had had enough. Alright, you're eating us out of house and home here. You gotta go, man. You heard me. Kick bricks, Froggy. Wow, he just called a French person a frog. That's so racist. No, it's not. They're all French. The guy just looks like a frog is all. Oh. Well, too late. I'm already offended. That's fair. Dislike. After leaving home...
Yeah, that's the unfortunate state of what today is. Yeah, I'll just leave you with that thought.
Tarrare was forced to beg and steal just to satisfy his gargantuan appetite. Inevitably, people began to take notice of him, and eventually he landed a job as a street performer in Paris. People would hand Tarrare entire baskets of apples, eggs, and even wine corks, and watch in delight as he horked them down without the slightest hesitation. Normally, this went off without a hitch, except for one time when he suffered a severe intestinal blockage. Fortunately, the crowd was kind enough to carry him to the hospital, where he was treated with the strongest laxatives the 18th century had to offer. I would draw what happened next, but it would probably get my channel deleted, so let's just picture it for a few moments. Moving on. Cut to the year...
God dang it, Sam. Now you got an even horrible mental image in us. Thanks a lot.
1792. This marks the beginning of the War of the First Coalition. Ever heard of it? Me neither. Who was in it? Fucking everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway, Tarrare decided to enlist in the war.
his...
After all, maybe that profound emptiness he was feeling was just a lack of purpose in life. Turns out, no, he really was just psychotically hungry. Even after being granted quadruple rations, Tarrare would still be digging through the trash pile whenever he got the chance. After suffering extreme exhaustion, he was sent off to the military hospital in Tarrare. The staff there was so dumbfounded by the man's abilities that they decided to keep him there to run a few experiments.
I mean, oh boy, I just got like a weird, what I call this, an intrusive thought? This guy would decimate the entire cheese cave. Like, I don't know how many cheeses are stored in there, but considering that they are using a cave to store cheese, I'm pretty sure all that cheese is going to be gone in, let's say, half a day. And that's just me, like, lowballing the whole thing.
The first of which involved putting Tarrare in a room with a meal prepared for 15 people. Naturally, he ate the entire thing and immediately fell asleep. Next,
That's just me and just about anyone after a Thanksgiving dinner. Only instead we're not gorging on meals set for 15 people.
they presented him with a raw eel. In response, Tarrare crushed the eel's skull between his teeth before slurping down the entire creature in one go.
Okay, just treat it as a noodle.
Now, this is hair-clenchingly horrifying for a couple of reasons. Firstly, he put a whole frickin' eel in his stomach, but secondly, there had to be some point during digestion where the meat was gone but the bones still remained. Now, for those of you who don't know, an eel skeleton looks like this.
Ugh, let's just hope those spines aren't jagged. Well, aren't too stiff. Yeah, I gotta imagine that they aren't be, considering how slithery an eel is. But also, crushing that dense skull with your teeth. Yeah, I mean, I bit my teeth down on like some hard chicken bones, and yeah, it didn't go so well for one tooth.
That means Tarrare had all of those needle-sized ribs stabbing into the walls of his stomach at once, and he was fine. He also ripped a live cat apart with his bare hands, drank its blood, and ate everything but its bones, and then later gagged up the fur and skin like an owl, but...
Oh god, poor cat. Oh no. I would try and I'm trying to find something to say at least, but I can't find any. Oh god, that's terrible.
You know, that's neither here nor there. After reviewing our data, I've come to the scientific conclusion that, yeah, we got a goddamn demon on our hands. But as we all know, with great devour comes great responsibility. Since Tarrare was still technically enlisted, the military decided to utilize his abilities for the greater good. Hey Tarrare, it's me, the General. Listen, could you eat this box with a note in it for me? If you do it, we'll give you a wheelbarrow full of bull organs. Lo and behold, 2 days later, he passed the container in mint condition and was given his reward as promised.
Wonder how long it took him to clear that. Odds are, considering the meal, I'd say that I'd give him about half an hour.
With this proof of concept, they made him an official spy and sent him into Prussia with a document in his belly to be delivered to an imprisoned French colonel. Unfortunately, there are a couple things Tarrare couldn't do that are generally important when sneaking into another country. A, he couldn't speak German, and B, it's pretty hard to maintain
What does that say?
When sneaking into another country. A, he couldn't speak.
Yeah, I'm not pronouncing that. But I'm guessing that's supposed to be a rough translation that I'm not a spy.
Speak German, and B, it's pretty hard to maintain a low profile when you're running around like a madman, wolfing down garbage and mutilating small animals.
Well, There's an old saying, old
So he
habits
ended up
die
being
hard.
captured by the enemy. Initially, he kept his mouth shut, for once, but after a whipping and a day in jail, Tarrare gave in. After confessing that he did, in fact, have vital intelligence snaking its way through his GI tract, the Prussians chained him to a latrine until the box emerged 30 hours later. The note wasn't actually anything important, so they just a latrine until the box emerged 30 hours later. The note wasn't
So wait, there's Prussia and a Russia? Please clarify. Love French.
actually anything important, so they just mock executed him, gave him a severe beating, and sent him on his way. After all that, Tarrare returned to life at the hospital, desperate for a cure for his condition, but nothing they ever tried worked.
Let's see here. Got tobacco pills, opium, tincture. Is that how you pronounce it? Vinegar, juice cleanse. Tell him to just quit being a fat ass. Throat cork. Working? No. Nope. Give up and start a business making IRL. Or okay, that's a very extreme jump.
Meanwhile, the man's endless hunger continued to get him into all sorts of trouble. He'd often sneak out of the hospital to eat the scraps behind the local butcher and fight stray dogs in the alley for their precious garbage. He'd also seek out patients undergoing bloodletting in order to take all their life juice for himself. On several occasions, he was even caught attempting to eat bodies in the mortuary. By this point in my research, I was so desensitized to this guy that I didn't even bat an eye when I first read that. I was just like, alright. Guess he must have been hungry. Anyway, the hospital staff begrudgingly tolerated Tarrare's buffoonery until one day when he went too far. Well, Tarrare, you've only had 3 mess hall raids, 4 miscellaneous trash-related mishaps, and 1 cadaver defiling. So I'd say, so far, this week's been pretty good. Doctor, we should probably inform you that a 14-month-old child has gone missing from their room. Tarrare, look at me. Did you eat a fucking baby? Tarrare was promptly kicked out of the hospital and spent 4 years out and about doing, whatever horrific shit you can imagine. When he came back, he was suffering from advanced tuberculosis and died shortly after arrival. During his autopsy, the surgeons found that when they looked into his mouth, they could see all the way down his throat and into his stomach cavity.
Well, I guess that explains the guy's lack of gag reflex.
As you can imagine, his whole abdominal region was profoundly deformed. Basically, if this is a normal human, this is what they found inside Tarrare.
And all that fit within a 100-pound man?
Just like the man's mind, we can see that around 90% is devoted towards food and 10% towards everything else. So, moral of the story here is that no, you know what? Not even I can find anything resembling a moral here. Not all stories have a point to them. Sometimes they're just sad and disgusting from beginning to end. And now a word from our sponsor. As you can probably tell, I'm a very visual person when it comes to learning.
How 7 years. But let's watch it. Let's watch it, because I saw that this guy has a very entertaining way to show in ads.
I firmly believe that engaging visuals are an essential teaching tool that allows for much deeper comprehension than plain old walls of text. That's why I'm pleased to introduce our sponsor, Brilliant.org. We all know that math and science are really important to master, and Brilliant's elegant UI and step-by-step design makes learning seemingly complex topics very intuitive, especially for visual learners. Their straightforward graphics, delightful animations, and interactive puzzles make it easy and fun to hone your own critical thinking skills. Personally, I've always been super intrigued by neural networks and all the things you can do with them, but I've always been too intimidated to research them in depth. After learning about Brilliant, I actually started taking their course in the subject, and I gotta say, it's been such a pleasurable experience that I plan to continue with it in my own spare time. To support me and learn more about Brilliant, go to brilliant.org/salmonella and sign up for free. Also, the first 200 people that go to that link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription. Till next time, I'm Salmonella, and thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. If you did, that's cool too. What a way to get back into Salmonella Academy. Well, folks, that was Tarrare, the hungriest man in history. Don't forget to punch that like button and slug that subscribe button real hard to join me in the contender ring to box the algorithm into a headline fight. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.